I started Under the Gun because I read this book by Abby Hoffman called Steal This Book from the 70s, and he essentially was like, if you want to get free music, you should start a publication and send in a demo copy of your writing, and they'll send you free music. And I didn't believe that was true. Turns out it's very real, and they kept sending me stuff. And then I was like, well, I wonder if I keep writing, what will happen? So I wrote a review a day every day, and I would just keep getting stuff. And eventually they started mentioning your name places, and you're like, oh, I guess people, now I'm a real writer, apparently. Apparently now I'm a writer. And then if you post a bunch more things, people start being like, can you post this news tidbit? And you're like, yeah, sure, I'll post something to help you out. And then suddenly you're a news writer. And now there's 20-some writers, and I'm an editor.
Well, initially, James, one of the co-founders and co-somethings of the site, pretty much runs the place. He contacted me via email, said, hey, do you want to write for my blog, do metal stuff? And I was like, yeah, sure, that sounds great. He didn't actually get back to me initially, and then I ended up working with him at Our Stage and brought it up sort of in casual conversation. I was like, remember that time you asked me? And he was like, oh yeah, you should totally do that now. And I was like, yeah, sure, alright. So I started writing for them. I've been writing for them for about a year now. Sometimes it's like an aggregate mini reviews thing, like I cover 5 or 6, maybe 10 metal albums, do mini reviews, or I do like a 3,000 word interview with different musicians. Most recently I did like one of the members of Impending Doom, and I did Tosin Abasi of Tram and Animals as Leaders.
Once people started to recognize the site and started to notice that we kind of have a voice and we have a different way of looking at things, I think we don't just bulletin board news, and our interviews and our reviews tend to have a little bit more of an attitude in them, for lack of a better term. And people would come to us and say, I want to write like this, and you seem to offer that platform. And so we started to promote ourselves as such, to say, you know, we are Under the Gun as a place where people who want to have their voice heard in the music industry in a journalistic sense can go to do just that. Also, going back to the idea of like an absolute punk and the sites that exist today, everyone that talks about entertainment seems to talk about one thing. You have Bloody Disgusting for horror films, Slash Film for mainstream films, absolute punk, you know, metal sucks for metal fans. Everything is so segregated. And in my mind, the internet and really just technology in general is for sharing all those things. And I'm not the type of person that only likes one thing or one genre of music or one style of anything. And it bothers me that I have to have a site that I go to for this and a site that I go to for that.
I've probably been reading Under the Gun Review for probably a year now, pretty regularly. I really like that it has like a wide range of things that it reviews, and I also like that it reviews content and videos and music that I wouldn't normally see on other sites, so it's a really great place for me to go for some of those other things I might not see on other places. I mean, I have it right here, and it's great like if you're out and you like hear a song by a band that you haven't heard of, or if you hear of a movie that your friends are going to, it's a really great way on the go to kind of like check that out and see if it's something that you could be interested in or you want to learn more about it.
Right now, our goal is to try our best to become the next generation of an alternative entertainment magazine. I think the last generation was your Rolling Stones and your Spins, and that gave way to Alternative Press, AMP, and a few other smaller magazines. But now that we've moved into the digital age and everything got segregated, all of those major publications moved on to the internet, and everyone still looks at them and respects them for covering everything. But there haven't been a lot of new things that have come up online. Really a quote-unquote zine that can survive and cover a bunch of different things with authentic voices hasn't really existed yet. I think there's really a window there for something, and that's what we hope to squeeze through.